Blow Up is a 1966 film written and directed by Michelangelo Antonioni, with additional writing from Tonino Guerra, based on a short story by Julio Cortázar. It is a film about performance, perception, fantasy, and reality. It looks at the life of Thomas, who lives in the swinging 60s with the quote-unquote glamorous lifestyle of a fashion photographer. The film is bookended from performances of mimes, which is a great indicator of what this film is truly about: pretending and mimicry, a performance that isn't real. But how real everything is depends on your perception. It all relates to the main focus of the film, that Thomas takes voyeuristic photographs of a couple and learns he may have just witnessed a murder.
Yep.
Thomas is a photographer, and as a photographer they are trying to capture something that can grab attention or intrigue its viewer, show things for what they really are. But the lens is not a human eye, and the reality of what a camera takes is only a perception from the photographer taking the picture. Thomas blends into the Doss house to dupe the people working there that he is one of them, but he isn't. That was a part he was playing to get what he wants. We can all be guilty of that. Thomas plays a part in life like all of us. The brash, confident photographer is another role he plays. This is a man who has women begging him to be photographed. His assistant does everything for him. He is surrounded by beautiful women, but the reason they're around him is not because of who he is, but who he represents. Because of what he's become, the only thing that fascinates him is something new to him. His reaction in the antique store to seeing the propeller is, "I can't live without it." Thomas feels trapped in his own skin.
Wish I had tons of money. Then I'd be free.
Free to do what? Free like him?
A life seemingly so privileged, yet lacking in actual reality.
She isn't my wife, really. We just had some kids. No kids. Not even kids. Sometimes, though, it feels as if we had kids.
This is just a barrage of conflicting statements, which shows that Thomas doesn't really know where he is or what to think. He presents a person to the world, but that person isn't even his true self. He has completely lost touch with who he is. The camera has added and both subtracted something from our reality. We have all become passive voyeurs with our Instagram culture, receiving likes or dislikes, like we exist in another reality, an online presence, or a person wearing another mask, a person behind the camera, creating an alternative reality. Thomas takes photos of staged people. He sleeps around, has an elevated status, yet he is drowning in his simulated life. Constant indulgence has distanced Thomas from the genuine, and he now wrestles with what is essentially a fantasy. The opening photography scene plays out like a sex scene.
Yeah, make it come. Great. No, head up.
At the end, he gets off the beautiful model, finished, his business done. She laying there, post-coitus, disregarded. Now Thomas is on to the next thing. More ladies, more puppetry. Thomas is a man given much attention for what he represents. In addition to the wannabe models, Thomas now becomes the focus of a woman called Jane, who chases him to get back personal photographs. And why does a mysterious man seemingly now follow him? Thomas, wherever he goes, simply attracts attention. But this time, it could be far more serious. Thomas is once again looking for something real. A couple. A difference in ages, but seemingly fond of each other. Thomas hides. This way his photos can be more real. If someone is on camera, they know it, and it isn't, quote, organic. Is this simply voyeurism? Thomas is a person that is rarely told no. This is a product of a man who gets everything yet is left unsatisfied, chasing a new thing. The couple in the park. What is their story? It kind of feels like they're putting on a show for him. A show that his models can't always do because he's in control of that situation, and it lacks anything truly genuine.
Oi! No chewing gum. Get rid of it. Not on my floor. You, arm down.
Here the couple are free of his puppet strings, and he's enamored with the way they play. Like the performance in the film, they are putting on a show. The photos reveal what Thomas wants to see, belief becomes obsession as he searches for something real. He seemingly discovers something. Through fascination, a blob, a mark, it is blown up and dissected to reveal a man's face, and then a gun. And the pieces start to create a narrative for Thomas. This man's life was in danger. The fact that this assassin is all of a sudden visible either indicates that Thomas has done his detective work, or is in fact seeing what he wants to see. He is now animated enough that his life has meaning. He promises the photos to Jane, but she is desperate. It escalates to a point where she strips, with Thomas then deciding to give her the film. He does, however, not give her the real one. Did he simply do this because she got naked in front of him, or because of what her getting naked represented? That it was something true and real and surprising. For Thomas, who always gets excited by something new, it could very well be just that. The modelling world is fake. These aren't real intimate moments, they are staged.
What's the matter? Forgot what a smile is. Hey!
The whole film is loaded with fakery and people playing a role. Thomas himself plays a part. There's nuns and a queen's guard, costumes, masks, performances. Jane wants the film back and he gives her a fake one to placate her. She too gives him a fake telephone number. Thomas's relationship at home is also a sham. His not a wife is sleeping with his roommate. And then we have the concert, where those in attendance are disengaged zombies to a performance by the Yardbirds. Only 2 people are dancing. It's almost eerie. But the crowd goes nuts when Jeff Beck smashes his guitar and throws a part of it into the audience. The performance by a great British rock band made them disconnected, but getting an object, a thing from a famous person, means something to them. After fighting over it because everyone else does, Thomas attains it and runs away. But Thomas always chases after new things, and when they're attained, he's no longer interested. Now it's worthless, conquest over. This meaningful object, now without context, is just a broken piece of a guitar. He discards it, as mannequins that resemble his models stand before him, statues that cannot smile. Now no one wants the piece of guitar. The context of it once belonging to Jeff Beck is gone. Now it's just a bit of scrap. Worthless. We apply meaning to objects, people, a reality, but it is in response to those around us, a social function. A piece of Jeff Beck's guitar has meaning to people because of his status, and a propeller not on its boat is interesting and different. A photograph with actual context, mystery, and intrigue has value, for it contains something up to the minute and palpable. The propeller will be the next worthless thing. It too will become disregarded for another new thing. New girls enter his life, but he doesn't even photograph them, simply frolicking with them aggressively and moving on to the next thing. The murder.
They don't mean anything when I do them. Just a mess.
Is art without meaning still art? The painter Bill would have had a passion for painting, but like Thomas and photography, it has become a slog. Just a job, less engaging.
Afterwards, I find something to hang on to. Like that. Like that leg. And it sorts itself out. And adds up. It's like finding a clue in a detective story.
And then Thomas sees it. The dead body. The only time in the film he didn't have his camera. This is real. This is a time when he gets to see something without seeing it through a lens. Does Thomas now begin to realize that without his camera, that things can be more real? Thomas's living quarters are ransacked, the photos stolen. Would Thomas now question whether they ever really existed? He sees Jane as he drives past, or did he? She quite easily blends into a crowd, never to be seen again.
No, we haven't met. You've never seen me.
Thomas now only has his memories, in addition to one blurry blown-up photograph of quote-unquote the body.
It's like finding a clue in a detective story. What did you see in that park? Nothing.
Does the lens tell more of a truth than the human eye? Thomas is impressed with his docile photos that show people at their most real. They were seemingly unaware he was an undercover photographer and got some impressive pictures. His day job of photographing models does not inspire him. There is only one major part of the film where Thomas is without his camera, and it's at the most crucial, when he sees the dead body. The perception of whether he truly saw a dead body can be debated. I suppose it doesn't matter. Thomas just believed he saw it. But without being able to photograph it like he would everything else, the subject is perhaps more real than reality itself, because it is a reality that is personal to Thomas's experience. And what's interesting is that we accept a reality where things we believe we saw are 100% fact. If we see a dead body, we are sure we saw a dead body. If we take a magnifying glass to a photograph and look at it in depth, we may see all sorts of things, and we may start to believe they are there. When a model says she's going to Paris, and then you see her in London, she is clearly not in Paris.
I am in Paris.
But you are no idiot. She isn't in Paris. But perhaps this is a reality she tells herself. She has the career of a model. She's made up, told what to wear and where to stand and how to act. So like Thomas, perhaps all of her life is a put-on. The voiceover from the blow-up trailer says, "Sometimes reality is the strangest fantasy of all." Thomas wrestles with his reality.
Someone's been killed.
But his friend Ron is too high to care, or just not interested in something real. There is no evidence of the body having ever even been there. Thomas's reality only remains his reality. Perhaps there never was a body. Thomas is still attached to his camera by the end, but he doesn't once take a photograph of the mimes. The first time he walks through this park, there is an actual tennis match going on. This time, the mimes play act a game of tennis. Thomas watches and even plays along. When he throws them their ball back, Thomas is accepting the facade of this fantasy. This is precisely the moment when it becomes a reality for him. We hear the tennis match going on, and the ball being hit. Thomas starts to cry. He revels in this present moment, the realization of his reality, his surrender to fantasy. I suppose we can all convince ourselves into believing anything is real. A tennis ball, a murder, a model in Paris. And just before the end, Thomas physically fades away from the frame. What was real? Who even was Thomas? Was he as real as the tennis match the mimes just pretended to play? Mimes are making art without having to immortalize it. We currently live in a world of Instagram, photos of meals, taking photos in art galleries, a world where people miss an entire concert because they're recording it through their phone. The mimes are living in the moment, appreciating a game of tennis, and Thomas finally gets it. This is now. Thank you.
Reality is too full. Reality. It's too full, isn't it? Reality. There's too much stuff everywhere. In reality, isn't there? I liked it when there was nothing, remember? And when nothing existed at all. There was nothing. And it was just an infinite void of nothing, and nothing existed. It was brilliant. Remember?